So yeah, dude, like yesterday was really cool seeing 25,000 people come out. The thing is that what we were noticing, right? We were like, some of these people are pro-Palestine, but anti, like,
Well, I'm sure that some were probably anti-cop, probably, or not
pro-cop.
pro-cop, but some was conservatives.
Yeah, there were some conservatives. There was some two-state solution.
It was weird.
Pro-Palestinian people. There was all kinds of like.
And then there's a lot of leftists as well.
There's a lot of leftists.
Rose Twitter as well.
Yeah,
there's a really broad spectrum there.
That's good.
But that's fucking
that's
awesome.
That's what we want. Yeah.
Jones and I have been talking about it for days, dude. Like Israel's lost the narrative broadly. And in as much as there have been exploitable cracks in the Iron Dome, there's exploitable cracks in the propaganda. When your narrative is now entirely built on lies or 100% on previous travesties.
Yeah, really nowhere to run. It's gonna crack.
Yeah, there's no center to it. There's no foundation to it. So that's going to erode.
You know what? Really, I heard a lot from talking to some people on the ground there. It was like the videos really moved.
The videos moved them.
I'm sure.
And especially that video of them, like basically, I think it was like stun grenades or smoke grenades in a mosque that really ignited some fury in a lot of people.
Yeah.
I believe in the Muslim community or the Arabian community, that it was like, what the hell, is going on? That's something that really I felt like I got that feeling from the people.
Dude, all religious people, anybody of any faith,
and not everybody. There was
immediate solidarity with everyone inside Al-Aqsa that day, because that is that's like one of the most ultimate violations of your faith that anyone could ever fucking purport on you. And as a religious person, you would have to have a little empathy with that, I would think.
You would think. You would
There's
hope.
Christian Palestinians too that were there supporting. Like, they made it known that they were Christian. That had nothing to do with religion. It had to do with the fact that this is genocide. This is an open air prison. Like it doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter if you're Jewish. This isn't about your ethnicity or religion, whatever. This is like, it's very clear. It's rare. It's rare that we have such a clear-cut situation, right? Normally, foreign policy is messy. It's gray. It's hard to find the black and white. In this situation, it is very, 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 very obvious here. One side is literally committing genocide on the other, and there's really no way to twist it. So that's why Israel is losing the narrative, because the more they try to twist themselves into a pretzel to justify what they're doing, the more people are like, wait a minute, but like, you're lying. Like, you're like, this is
even
the people. Yeah, even the people that try to like condemn Hamas their way out of it, like, we get it. Hamas is a fucking like corrupt governing party, and one of the reasons why Palestine is struggling now is because they succeeded in fucking sabotaging Syria. But like, people are condemning the one part of Hamas that the people of Palestine support, which is their armed resistance to Israel.
Not only that, like, we've got documented evidence that fucking the state of Israel supported Hamas and wanted Hamas to be leading the leading
a long time ago,
because it helps them.
Yeah, of course.
Give them a fucking reason to be an aggressor nation.
That's a pattern, Same with the United States. What they do, they want that opposition.
And then for the people that are like, well, 1400 years ago, that was Rome. Your problem is with Rome. Take it up.
Take it up with Rome. Okay.
Don't take it up with
the Italians.
Yeah, I mean,
Northern Italians, by the way, I am 60.
Oh my god.
We didn't like Mussolini. We didn't like Caesar. He's not our beats.
Okay, pasta. That's great to know.
Going back to that one point, I think the video was really strong. It was kind of like I can draw parallels to the George Floyd footage. Whereas, a lot of people got inspired by the George Floyd footage to come out and protest. A lot of people got inspired by the footage you're seeing that's being somehow even getting out into Facebook and Instagram is still blocking everything. Twitter's saying this is sensitive content, or what was it that they had on yours feed? It was sensitive content.
Oh yeah. So a lot of the tweets I was sharing yesterday for people were coming up a video not available.
Oh, then this was for the protests, right?
Yeah. For yesterday.
Yeah.
People were sending me screenshots of how it said video not available in some circumstances, but no, like they're marking everything, right? And this is like what we always struggle with too here. Do we show this or not? Do we show pictures of dead kids? Because that's difficult for all of us to look at, for one. And I know, let alone most people who don't see these things all the time, because we do see these things all the time because we cover this shit. But like, so it's like you warn people, but for me, it's always been like, yeah, I want people to see this because it shows the truth, the reality. As ugly and nasty and disgusting and sad as it may be, people need to see this shit, because if they don't see this shit, then if they didn't see any of these videos of entire families getting wiped out, people who are going to help an injured victim getting bombed, like if you don't see that, you can just think of Palestine as like a destroyed, half nation that there's a two-sided argument. Yeah, both sides are bombing each other. I mean, for the longest time, that's what we were told. Like when I was young, there was Israel, Palestine. Oh, the ceasefire. Okay,
there's terrorists.
Terrorists are bombing Israelis.
Hamas is a terrorist group.
That's what you hear, though. Like,
they're bombing Holocaust survivors. And stuff. That whole narrative. So along with the videos and then along with censorship of those videos, I feel like that's probably woken up a lot of people to this shit. And then, just really the footage.
The key is how do we take this into an anti-war movement? And what I did like about what I saw yesterday was there were people I think they were the main organizers in a truck, and they started doing speeches about imperialism. They started talking about the Sandinistas movement, about how U.S. interventionism played a role in that. They started then talking about the history of Israel-Palestine and why, it's not a two-sided thing. And they started talking about just every other U.S. imperialist regime and how Malcolm X and Fred Hampton, they mentioned the Black Panthers. They started saying, hey, imperialism is what we need to look at. They started educating people at the protests who have not been educated on that. I mean, people were just coming because they felt compelled to come. They didn't take a history lesson on everything that's gone down in Israel, Palestine to show up at the protest. That's not required. But once you're at a protest like that and you start talking to people, then that's when you start, okay, like maybe I need to look more into this and that. And like, that's how it happens. A
lot of people that we interviewed didn't know too much about it. But then I found, we found a few people that did know. It was like, capitalism, as long as there's still capitalism, then imperialism will flourish and stuff like that. It's like, we got to combat capitalism. There's one of the younger people that we interviewed really was talking about. And that was awesome.
Yasser Arafat's party, the PLO, was a secular socialist government. And
and that's where Fatah came from.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say the PLO is where Fatah came from before they initially sold out in the Oslo Accords. Like Hamas came from the Brotherhood, but the thing with them is because they rose to power in the 2006 elections because they didn't demilitarize. They still took up armed resistance against Israel, which is like.
Also, like you said too,
they cheated that election.
Has become like the, what somebody described to me the other day is that they've become the Uncle Toms to the Israeli, government and stuff like that. That they're not standing up for the people, and Hamas doesn't even allow, Christian figures to run inside their party, and yet they still won enormously. So that tells you the state of the Fatah party. It's not the party of Yasser Arafat right now, and that's also another tactic Israel does to keep people divided, is they keep the parties and the people at each other's throats. Somebody did mention to us yesterday when we interviewed them that you don't see Israel going after the Palestinian Christians because it would turn their narrative, and the people in the States might not support this kind of occupation or this apartheid if they did see that. So it's they even play games within games. The situation is a lot more nuanced than people realize. And even Steve pointed out, we've been talking about this, Hamas was supported by Israel in the beginning to counteract the growing popularity of the PLO. They didn't want a secular socialist government there. That's what it's all about. It's imperialism.
Yeah.
Allie,
And I mean,
Palestine.
Oh, sorry.
Get out of
Allie,
here.
go.
So,
I will see you later.
yeah, for sure.
right.
We'll be back.
Bye, Allie.
All right, guys. Bye, guys. Good to
Bye,
see you.
Allie. Take care.
See ya.
Bye,
Bye.
Allie.
And I was
Whoa.
gonna say too, Palestinian Christians are getting attacked. It's just that you don't notice. But I mean, like it's Palestinians in general, like it's Palestinian Jews and it's Palestinian Christians and it's Palestinian Muslims and Arabs, because like everybody always says, like, you know, Jews and Arabs did live in peace in Palestine before the Israeli settlers came in, a majority of them being Western settlers,
European. It's like
when you watch that video, that it's from a while ago, but like the clip recently resurfaced of Abby Martin talking to all those people in West Jerusalem. You got like fucking like liberal sounding blonde girl who's probably from New York there. Like, if you look at the history, this land is ours, and the only way to do that is to just get rid of the Arabs. We just need to protect ourselves. Like, if you look at the history, it's ours. Like, those are it's an overgeneralization. Yes, I know, but
No, I mean, that's pretty accurate.
It's most of them. I mean, I saw Abby's, but she's not. There are other people I've seen interviewed there in the West Bank, and like and it's just they are so anti-Arab. Like they think of them as lesser than human, and you can't. How do you fight that, right? Like, it's like the same thing. We're still dealing with very small pockets of that here. And then, and you know, and like the hypocrisy that was pointed out yesterday by somebody that had been protesting at the BLM protest is like, you can't say BLM here if you're not saying it over there. And that's the hypocrisy of American exceptionalism, where, oh my God, look at what's happening. Look at what the police are doing here. But we're just going to pretend that Israel-Palestine isn't the same thing. It's the same exact thing. And I had a friend who was organizing one of these protests in another state. And of course, a Karen comes in and says, we need to talk about your logo, because it seems like you're stealing from BLM by saying we can't breathe since 1948. And did you talk to any of the Black organizers about this? Like, they were trying to be like, oh, you're stealing. Guys, it's the same.
Yeah, like you can't say
like,
Palestinian lives matter.
What
like,
hell?
bro,
like you don't own this shit. Like, this is like,
of course it's some Karen that's
it was
coming
a white woman.
Once again with the fucking saviors. These people just are just
I
blowing my
know.
mind.
And it's like, for all those people that share pictures of like Angela Davis behind the bulletproof glass, like, oh my God, yes, queen, look at her owning these racists. The Black Panther supported the PLO.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. You know,
They did. They mentioned that too.
the Black Panthers talked a lot about communism in Cuba. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, we dropped Reverend Annie Chambers video out there and stuff like that. So you guys should take a look at it. It was awesome stuff. And it was so great to be a part of that with you guys with Slow News Day and that whole experience.
I
It was just
know.
pretty awesome.
That was so awesome.
It was really life-changing for me. I just thought it was amazing. Like, that was my favorite interview so far. I can't wait to get back out there. A close second was our boy McHenry over there. You know what I'm saying? He's awesome too as well.
I talked to him on the phone just yesterday, and am gonna be going down to spend some time with him this week. I have been too busy to do any volunteering with Food Not Bombs. It's starting to like grate on my soul, so I'm making sure that I get back down there this week.
There'll be no frolicking lamb in that food, by the way.
No, straight vegan.
That's right.
Straight vegan. Look, man, I I believe in personal choice, right? And so I'm not anti-vegan. I just expect the same respect from my vegan friends. That's all.
And if not, then you're going to get made fun of. Oh, and also, other side note, for all you anti-interventionist conservatives, so how does it feel to be licking the ass of Mossad?
Ooh.
Just curious. I mean, Robert Maxwell and all the ties to Epstein and that whole sex trafficking circle. How does it feel to be just deep throating their boot right now?
Are you talking about
Mr. Anti-Deep State Jack Posobiec?
You're talking about the conservatives who are pro-Israel?
The Zionists.
Right?
I think specifically on this one, she's talking about Jack.
Yeah.
Okay, but also there's that Ian dude, the wannabe Andy No Boots left
Ian
on
Miles
lick.
Chong, that one, yeah.
Yeah.
I know
I'm
thee well.
curious as to how it feels.
This is
to
the
have
area
that,
of criticism for them. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
and they should
to have
Yeah.
just Mossad's ball sack just
You're not
dangling in your
against
face. How does that feel?
my mom used to get so mad, like when she's like, "How come you don't have a nativity set up with the candles for Hanukkah and stuff like that, and the mall stuff?" She's like, "You should do both. Like, I mean, we should be respectful to both because they weren't letting nativity stuff go up, but they were letting up the Torah candles up there and stuff like that." Now, since Trump's been president, she's so pro-Israel. It's so crazy that Donald Trump got a lot of old school conservatives that used to be like, "I don't know about this, the Israel situation." It's like, it seems like we're spending so much money. They have everything. We don't have anything. To now, like, oh, we got to stand behind our Judaic Christian principles. So it's so weird to see that, but that's how people follow Donald Trump. They really are that way. Like, yeah,
I mean,
it's
a
crazy.
cult, though. It's a cult mentality. Whether you follow Donald Trump, whether you follow Joe Biden, it's the same fucking bullshit. Like, you're a hypocrite. Like, you're a hypocrite. If you're talking about the deep state and you're not going to take into consideration how Israel is so involved in our country, in our elections, in every aspect of our country, when Joe Biden said, if we didn't have Israel, we need to invent in Israel. Yeah. Well, that's because we need a military base in the fucking Middle East. And if you're gonna come at me and say, oh, I'm with Israel, but you're not gonna give me any reason as to why are you for genocide? Like, I've asked people, like, who said, I stand with Israel. I'm like, okay, why? And they don't answer because it's just some culture war fucking like, I stand with Israel. I'm gonna pick a team. I'm gonna play team sports.
Yeah,
like because the left likes Palestine, so I'm against the left, so I'm gonna stand with Israel because the left likes Palestine. That's what it boils down to.
It's also anti-Muslim thing
too. And then you show them fucking Debbie Wasserman Schultz and fucking like Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton.
You're with them too.
There are people out there that legitimately think that because Debbie Wasserman Schultz is a Democrat that she's anti-Israel. And I talked to a man while canvassing for Jen Perlman last summer who thought that Debbie Wasserman Schultz was anti-Israel. I kid you not.
Oh, Jesus.
That's how bad the partisanship is.
Yeah. Well, anybody who voted for Joe Biden shouldn't have been out there supporting Palestine yesterday because technically Joe Biden has said before, not only that he's going to invent this, but he's also said, I am a Zionist. He said it plain and simple. I am a Zionist. I mean, come on. As soon as he got into office, Netanyahu started upping the bomb into Syria. It's ridiculous. Whether it be Joe Biden or Donald Trump, the military intervention over there, still the same. The military support, still the same for Israel. It doesn't.
We're playing it. We're playing it.
Yeah.
We're playing Joey B.
We do it live.
We do it live.
Shout out Burmis. And shout out Marcus Cage, who's in the YouTube chat.
Oh, hey, Marcus. Hey, Marcus, I did not see your message until this morning. It got buried. Next Saturday for sure. Let's do that.
Here he is, Joey B.
There is this inextricable tie between culture, religion, ethnicity that most people don't fully
understand.
Look
how close he is to that guy.
That is unique and how can I say it?
About ready to grab his tie.
So strong. Jews worldwide. There is a. I mean, I used to say early on when I was a kid, I'd say, when I was a young senator, I'd say, if I were a Jew, I'd be a Zionist. I am a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist.
Wow. We have to vote out fascism. Vote for Joe Biden.